Discuss what you have to put in the certain boxes. Sound good? Yes? Okay. Let's take a look at these three pictures. What do you see in these pictures? Yes?
I see the war.
You see war? Yes?
The red coats.
You see the red coats? Okay. So what do all these pictures have in common? Yes?
They have soldiers.
There are soldiers. Yes?
I want to say two things.
Okay.
They all have, like people in the army in war. My
Okay.
dad's a national guard in the army.
Oh, is he? Good. And one more answer, yes? You back there. Yes.
They show how war weaponry has evolved from the revolutionary to, I'm guessing that's probably World War I or II, and that's why right now.
Okay. So what do you think some causes of war are? Why do people have war? Yes? In the green shirt? Yeah.
To fight for their rights.
To fight for their rights? Yes?
I just wanted to say, my friend's dad, they just had moved to Alabama, but when they had the war in Iraq, he was flying the helicopters and dropping all the guys off.
Oh, wow.
So he took us on a little tour to see them.
That's neat. What do you think a cause of war is?
Like to protect your country.
To protect the country. So today we're going to learn about the causes of the American Revolutionary War and just like what began that war.
To the American Revolution, we have to look at the beginning of our country. Everybody know what map this is? What is this? Everybody?
13 colonies.
Okay, it is the 13 colonies within the United States of America, correct? So, back then, we have the area along the Atlantic Ocean that was actually claimed by Great Britain. Colonists came over and lived in those areas. There were 13 colonies. And while the colonists were living there, they actually began to develop their own rules and govern themselves for those regions.
Okay, everyone see this? This is also the 13 colonies, but it's just more zoomed in. Everything in the green, as you can see, is what the French's land was. Everything in the orange is the British land. And then see this over here with the orange stripes? They both claimed that land because they both wanted that land. But neither of them wanted to give it up, so they had a war. It was called the French and Indian War. And the only reason it was called the French and Indian War is because the Native Americans helped the British fight against the French. And the British actually won the French and Indian War, so now this became the British land.
After the French and Indian War, the colonists wanted to move their land to start farming. But Parliament, which was the lawmakers for Britain, they said that they could not move west of the Appalachian Mountains. They also said that Parliament, they wanted to tax colonists to pay for the costs of the French and Indian War. A tax is just money the government collects from people. So the colonists were really angry about the taxes and them telling them what to do because, as Barbara said before, the colonists they've been living there a while. They already started to govern themselves. So they thought they were angry that someone else was trying to tell them what to do.
So let's take a look at what you remember. First question, we talked a little bit really quickly about the French and Indian War. Can anybody tell me what was the cause? So why did it happen? Yes, I saw you with your hand up right away.
The cause was that the French and British wanted the same land, and the Indians helped the British, and the British won.
Okay, who agrees? Put your hand on your head if you agree. If you don't agree, cross your arms. Everybody agrees?
Yes.
Absolutely. There was land that both Great Britain and France had claimed themselves. So there was a war about who then was going to now take over that land. Now, and what happened? Did anybody remember what happened? Anybody else? Can anybody tell me? Yes, you. The Indians and the British won. Absolutely. Good point. The Native Americans were actually fighting with with Great Britain, and they won. So then what happened? What did Parliament do? Anybody? Yes?
I just had a question.
Okay.
Why did the Indians help the Britishers?
Well, they felt that that Great Britain would fight for their rights and help them. Okay, good question. Yes?
Well, how,
Result of the French and Indian War. I know we heard one gentleman say that the Great Britain won that land. Yes?
I was just gonna say
Okay, everybody agree? Hand on your head if you agree. Anybody disagree? Absolutely. Another result, yes?
what would happen if the Indians helped the French?
Well, maybe there might have been a different end result. That's a good question. We don't really know, because that's not what happened, right? What did we say about Parliament? What did Parliament then do to the colonists? Yes?
They made the French collect taxes.
Okay, good. Yes, they made someone collect taxes. Can anybody tell me who did they want to collect the tax from? I know you seem to have the answer, but let me ask you.
they wanted to collect the taxes from the colonists, and also they also didn't allow them to move out of their land.
Absolutely. So he said, what the end result of the French and Indian War, Parliament then wanted to tax the colonists. They also then told them they couldn't move into that land. Does everybody agree? Put your hand on your nose. Everybody agrees? Okay, excellent. Good job. So you're remembering what we're talking about.
Where do you think the
Excellent.
French and Indian War would go? Yes?
And number 1.
Does everyone agree with that? Should the French and Indian War go in box number 1?
Yes.
Put your thumb up if you agree.
Any thumbs down out there? Or are we all thumbs up?
It looks like everyone agrees.
Alright. Everyone remembers what a tax is?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. The Stamp Act was one of those taxes. In 1765, Parliament passed the Stamp Act, which was a tax. And that said that any newspaper or official paper had to have stamps on them. The stamps look something like this usually, okay? And colonists had to pay a tax to get these stamps.
Effects of the Stamp Act. The colonists were very angry about the Stamp Act. They didn't think that Parliament had a right to tell them what to do. So what they did was they protested, as they are doing in this picture. And also they burned piles of stamps in protest because they were so angry. So the Stamp Act, where do you think that the Stamp Act will go in your graphic organizer? Yes?
Where it says the Parliament action in number 1 or number 3 to put Stamp Act? Number 2.
I'm sorry, which number?
Number 2 or number 3?
Number 2? Okay, does everyone agree with that? Thumbs up if you agree. Thumbs down if you disagree. Thumbs up. Okay, so the Stamp Act is number 2.
Okay, ready done? Stand back. Okay, eyes up here when you've written Stamp, and when you're done writing Stamp Act on your paper. Nice. Everybody, eyes up here. Okay, a couple people still writing. Do you have a question, or you just telling me you're done? Good job. Okay, so because of all these protests, Parliament then actually, what is called, repealed the Stamp Act. Could anybody guess, knowing that they ended the Stamp Act? What does repeal mean? In the back there, young man in the green.
That means they don't have it anymore?
Exactly, they took it away. So they took away the Stamp Act, but then Parliament then went and started to tax lots of other goods. They taxed, as you can see up here, the cloth and as well as tape. So even though they took one away, they then began to tax more. So we have more taxes. So the idea of more taxes, that was an action taken by who? Everybody?
Parliament.
Parliament, exactly. So where do you think more taxes is going to go on your graphic organizer? Young man in the blue. Number 3, exactly. So let's all write number 3. We're going to write more taxes. So that was another action taken by Parliament.
But you could also check it on the board.
Yes, you have a question?
I wanted to say it's really hot because the projector is blowing the heat way.
Is it? Do you need to move your chair? Is it too warm right there? You can actually, if you want to move your chair around, is that okay, Mrs. Ben?
Okay, guys, who can think back and tell me what the Stamp Act was? You had your hand up first, back there in the green.
Stamp Act was you had to pay taxes for the stamps and they didn't want it anymore, so they took the tax away.
Wow, you gave me a lot of information there. So you're saying that the Stamp Act was a special tax, right? And do you know what they had to put the stamps on?
You had to put it on packages and stuff.
With newspapers and official documents, but really newspapers, right? Good job. Who agrees with his answer? He gave a very good answer. Who agrees? Thumbs up, thumbs up. Anybody disagree out there? Oh, good job. All right, let's see what's next. Okay, so what was an effect of the Stamp Act? You kind of started giving the effect, but let's give someone else a chance. You have your hand up right here.
People started to lose a lot of money and they got rid of it.
Yeah, so what did they do when they got mad? They took away the Stamp Act, but does anyone know what the colonists did first? They protested, right, good job.
In fact, the colonists are still really angry. British are kind of angry too. So what happens is, as Barbara said before, Parliament, they started to tax tea, which was a very popular good. The colonists really liked tea, so they were really angry. So in December of 1773, what they did was they dressed up as Indians, went onto the boat, and started dumping tea into the Boston Harbor, which really made Parliament very angry. So, where do you think that Boston Tea Party will go on the graphic organizer? Yes? Number 4. Does everyone agree with that? Thumbs up if you agree that it should go on number 4. Yes? Okay. So number 4 is Boston Tea Party.
Do you have a question? Okay.
Well, I actually have an answer. I once went to Boston and I heard that they dumped so much tea in the river that turned some part of it brown.
Did everybody hear that? So
That's
they
interesting.
dumped so much tea it actually turned the water brown. Good point. And that speaks to what Lauren was just saying, in that there was a lot of loss. They dumped a lot of tea there. Yeah.
So, I don't live with my parents. I live in New Jersey. I live at St. Basil's, and there's a really scary place on campus. It's in the woods, and it's sand, and the sand is black, and there's like a rock there, and the water there's so much black sand there that the water's black.
Wow, okay, another example of what you wouldn't expect, right? Did you have a quick question or comment? Okay.
How can the people who dump tea in
Okay, they wanted to show Parliament, the British government, that they were not happy with what was happening. Okay. You know what? Put your hands down for a moment. We're going to go on and keep talking because we may be able to answer your questions as we're continuing, and we'll take some time for questions at the end, okay? Okay, so as we were just saying, we have the Boston Tea Party, which we've already described was a really big action by the colonists. It cost Britain a lot of money. It made everybody angry. So because of that, Parliament then sent British soldiers into the colonies to try to keep order. They wanted to make sure the colonists were now going to follow their rules because they were angry at what's been happening. Now the British soldiers coming in, continue to make the colonists angry. So what do you think's happening here? Everybody's getting angry, yeah.
war?
I feel a war coming on for sure. Absolutely, good point. Okay.
Okay, let's think back again. So we just talked about it. Who can tell me what happened during the Boston Tea Party? You look really excited to tell me. Go ahead.
The colonists dressed up as Indians, and they poured like a bunch of tea in the water in the Boston Harbor.
They got on a ship, they dressed up as Indians, and they said, we don't want to pay this tax, so let's dump a bunch of tea into the Boston Harbor, right? Okay. What's next? What was an effect of the Boston Tea Party? So what happened after the Boston Tea Party? Yes.
They got the British got really angry, so they started sending soldiers over to make sure that everyone was following the rules.
Does everyone agree with that?
Thumbs
They
up
sent
if you
in British
agree.
soldiers. Looks like everybody agrees with
All right,
that.
guys, good job. Do you have a question? What's your question? Okay.
They should have just, well, they bought all that tea, and they should have just drank it. They could have drank the tea. They didn't.
Well, they would have to buy it.
Yeah,
before
they didn't want to
drank
pay for it. They didn't want to pay for the special tea tax, so instead they just dumped it in. But you're right, they could have drank it, but they didn't want to pay for it.
Did they drink a little?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Let's hold up on the questions because we do want to get through all of our material. We will have some time at the end for some questions.
So the tensions are rising on both sides. The colonists are angry, Britain is angry. So the British troops, they marched from Boston to Concord to get weapons that colonists were storing. And the colonists stood in the way of the British. And this event, the Battle of Concord, is really known as the beginning, the first battle, the beginning of the American Revolution War.
So we have it in our colonists. Just to point out that not all the colonists agreed with the fight against Great Britain. We actually had what were called patriots. Patriots did indeed want their freedom. They wanted to be rid of Great Britain, and they wanted to be able to govern themselves and make their own laws. They wanted to be independent. And then we had the Loyalists. Loyalists were actually loyal to Great Britain. They did not want a revolution. They wanted to be loyal to their mother country. So they weren't interested in war. Did you have a question about that?
No, but the Patriots are a football team.
That's indeed. Yes, you've heard these words before, I am sure. Absolutely. Yes, gentleman in the back.
How come they couldn't just take the boxes and just like cut them open and just dump all the tea?
They may have done some of that too. Some boxes went in, some tea went in. That's why this young man had said even, he had heard that the water actually turned brown. So there was a lot of stuff going into the water for sure. Good question, good question. Yes, question about this?
Yes.
Okay.
About the Patriots, actually, sorry, about the British, why did they want to, raise the taxes?
They wanted control of those colonies. They said, this is our land, and we want to make decisions for you. But good point in asking why they wanted those taxes. Part of the reason for the start of the taxes was to pay for the French and Indian War. Because when we go to war, it costs money. It costs a lot of money for countries. So that was a way that they could then get some of that money back by taxing the colonists. Excellent question. Yes, question about this?
I've actually been to London and I've seen the palaces and the change of guard and I've seen all of the stuff.
Awesome. So you can imagine what Parliament looks like. You've actually seen it firsthand. Great, thank you. Did someone else have a question in the back? No? Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, Fort Ticonderoga. This is a fort that the British actually had control of. The Patriots, you'll remember the Patriots were which side? They wanted freedom or didn't want freedom? They wanted freedom, right? Okay, so they planned to attack this fort because they wanted to gain control of it. They wanted cannons and they had different weapons there that they really wanted. So they surprised the British soldiers. The British had no idea they were coming to take over this fort. And since they had no idea, the British weren't prepared, so they actually didn't even fight. They just gave it over to the Patriots. And then no more British control. The Patriots gained control of Fort Ticonderoga.
So if you look on 5 and 6 of your graphic organizer, the start of the revolution, the first battles, what are the two starts of the revolution? Yes, can you give me one? The Battle of Concord. Does everyone agree with that? The Battle of Concord? Thumbs up? Okay. Battle of Concord?
How about for the next one? Does anyone have any ideas what should go in the next one? So we can just write Fort Ticonderoga.
Can we pronounce it all together?
All right, ready? Let's try and say this all together. I had a very hard time saying this at first, even when we made this movie. So, Fort, and everyone say it with me, Ticonderoga. Good job. All right, let's say it again. Fort Ticonderoga. One more time. One more time. Fort Ticonderoga.
Okay, what do you remember?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good point.
What were the causes of the American Revolutionary War? Who can give me one cause? A hand that I haven't seen before? Does anyone know one cause?
Maybe in the back.
You? Yes?
The British making stamps.
Oh, okay. What was that called? Do you remember? Does anyone want to help him out? The British had a tax stamp. So what was that called? Yes?
Stamp Act.
Stamp Act. Does everyone agree it was the Stamp Act a cause? Yes. Okay, so the Stamp Act. What was another one? Yes?
Ticonderoga.
Was that a cause of it, or was that something that happened during it? Yes. Okay, so there's two more causes. What was the first thing that we talked about? Remember we were looking at the map and they both own the same land? Yes, you back there? Yes.
They hired the taxes.
They hired, we just discussed that in the Stamp Act. But yeah, they did do more taxes. Remember, what did they tax that made the colonists protest? And they threw it over the boat. Does anyone remember what that was called? Yes? Boston Tea Party. So we had the Boston Tea Party, the Stamp Act. And what was the first cause of the American Revolution that we talked about? Yes? You forgot? Oh, that's okay. Yes? French and Indian War. So those are the three causes of the American Revolutionary War. So what were the first two events of the American Revolutionary War? You had this one before. Fort Ticonderoga. Does everyone agree with that? Yes. Okay. And what was the other one? Good job. So we're going to do a little activity.
Why don't you turn your chair around after you two work together? Here, you flip it. This young lady was next. Okay, so you two are going to work together. And I got you two girls. I got the little you got her. Okay. So you need to turn your chair. No, you're not over here. So can you move your chair? Oh, you switch? Here, this gentleman can come right over here. And you're going to sit over here. Hold on, you step to the side for me. You come right over here. You guys will work together. And then you guys will still work together. All right. Okay, everybody, eyes up here. Listen to me for the directions, okay? This is what you're going to be doing. Everybody, listen so you're not confused, please. Everybody, listen. In your little bags, you're going to have white sheets of paper. Those have different events and causes on them that we talked about, okay? And then you see little yellow and green pieces of paper. Those are causes and effects. So, you need to put the causes and effects that go along with each event. I want you to set it up on your table. So you line up the events, and underneath you're going to put the cause and the effect underneath that for each event. Does everybody understand? Yes. Yes? Okay. Make sure you're just working with your partner. Go ahead. So first start winding your
Now we have to work
that led to the American Revolution, correct? Yeah. Okay, without saying anything, can anybody think just to themselves of one event? Can you think of one thing that you learned? Just think to yourself.
Okay, we're going to pass around these index cards. It's going to be an exit from the lesson. But what you're going to do is you're going to write one cause of the American Revolution War and one fact that you remember that happened during it, okay?
So one cause, one of the things that we talked about that led up to the American Revolution. And one fact, anything that you might remember from the lesson today.
I see one fact.
Yes. Doesn't matter.
You can write out whichever side you want. So make sure I put your name on it as well.
Write your name on the card. Okay, so put your name on the card. And then you're going to write down one of your causes and one thing that you remember.
I did.
You guys write something on here?
Can I get over my name on
So what are we doing? Everybody, I can hear too much talking right now, class.
You guys are doing this by yourselves.
On your own.
With our partners, by yourselves.
One of the causes of the American Revolution and one thing that you remember about what we talked about today. It can be anything.
Write one cause.
All right, so we're quietly thinking or we're writing. Table 3. Table 3. No,
You're going to protest.
I know, but I want you to look like table 3. So I was hoping that you would turn into table 3. Table 4, look at me. Oh, your direction. Bring your direction.
Eyes up here. For Wednesday, you guys are going to complete this worksheet. What you're going to do is you're going to write the cause and the effect of 5 events that we talked about today. So it's the French and Indian War, Stamp Act, Boston Tea Party, Fort Ticonderoga, and Battle at Concord. Miss Benfer is going to put it in your mailboxes, but it's not due Monday, it's going to be due on Wednesday. Because I'm aware that you guys don't get homework over the weekends. So try your best to complete it and I'll collect it on Wednesday.
Because that will be scored as an actual homework grade in social studies.
Okay?
Yes, question?
Can we do it tonight and bring it on Monday? Or
You can check with Miss Benfer. If that works, yeah, but we don't, normally you don't have homework over the weekend. We're not trying to make more work for you. Question?
I actually just finished my
Awesome. You can hand that in. And question?
So if we don't get time to learn it, it's still today.
It's not due today.
Not due today. Not till next week. Okay, it'll be in your mailbox. You can take home on Monday and do it.
Okay, so what do you guys have to do over the weekend or on Monday?
It'll be part of your regular
What is your homework assignment? Yes?
You have to write about
Listen, Connor.
Okay. Okay, what do you have to write about all of those different events that you just named? Yes?
to write the cause and the effect.
The cause and effect. Does everyone understand the homework assignment?
Yeah.
Okay.